These whitetail love this grass. I mean, they lay down in it. You can't even see them. You can't even see that fawn right there. That's crazy. Good morning. It's Friday morning. It's my second to last day. I'm in the same place where I shot the bear with the bow. It's our third day in here, which is crazy because it's just this tiny little place. I got here, I'm by myself today. We got Gary's bear last night. I mean, we got home at like 11 o'clock at night. So we got his bear out last night. And so he's at home processing that. We got it gutted and cooled off, and so he's taking care of that this morning. So I'm out here by myself. So I got here a little bit later than first light, just because it's my first time driving out here. So it took me a little longer. Anyway, with this property, you hike up on top of this big kind of plateau, if you will, and it's all just like grass. Well, as I got up to the top of that, obviously I'm just looking around, and I looked down on a lower section that's not a part of this property, but there was a bull out there just grazing. So I had to backtrack back down to kind of over the crest of the hill, and then make my way down closer to the edge of that property. And so I did that really quickly. I set up just real quick, set the decoy up, and was ready to go. I didn't want to start calling. I didn't even try to video until I was ready, because I didn't know how fast he would come. When we were getting Gary's bear out last night, there was a bull bugling in the area, so I'm assuming it's that same one. So I just felt like he would probably respond fairly quickly, because he was bugling quite a bit last night. So I got all set up. I worked my way up to the top of the knoll just to get a set of eyes on him, and he had moved, and now he was closer, but the way the wind was blowing, I couldn't stay where I was at, because if I called him in, he was going to catch my wind before he got to me, or right when he got to me. So then I had to back off again, grab all my stuff, move down about 150 yards into a new position, get set up again, and then try to relocate him. Well, when I came back up and tried to relocate him, he was gone. It's like, it looks like it's miles in every direction of open fields, prairie and grasslands and ag fields. You're just gone. So I think the wind switched a couple times. I didn't think it was anything serious, and I thought I was far enough away, but I can't imagine anything else, because I think he had to take off running, because to cover that amount of area, I expected, like, if he moved off, just changed direction, or he decided it was time to bed, maybe he'd be too far for me to make a play, but that I'd see him again. He was just gone. So then I had to pack up all my stuff, and now my hike to get over to this ravine was twice as long. So I didn't get over here until, I don't know, it was probably 8:30. I didn't look. It's probably close to 9 now. But that's been the morning so far. I think it's unlikely anything is going to be in this ravine. We've spent so much time here. Yesterday, I'll talk about yesterday a little bit, because I need to clear some things up. But we spent so much time here. We spent the entire day in here that I just would be shocked if anything else was in here. I did go check the gut pile from Gary's bear, and nothing was on it other than birds. So that's where we're at right now. I figure it's going to be a pretty slow morning, so that's why I'm going to take some time to do this update and kind of clarify some things. I think there's going to be some gaps in video. I didn't have an opportunity to take video in some cases. I think my SD card was bad on one of the situations, so I'll take some time now and clear that stuff up. So we'll start with the bear hunt. So I shot my bear 2 days ago now. I should have had my GoPro on. I didn't. Like, we saw him right at last light, and it was like, if I'm going right, I need to go right now. Like, I didn't grab anything other than my bow and took off to try to get in front of this bear. So I didn't get any video of it, but Gary did from like 250 yards away with just his phone. So it's not a great video, but it's still awesome to have it. I'm so glad that he did that, was able to do that. But in any case, I hit my bear, and then we tracked it as far as we could until we ran out of light. And we tracked it a long ways, but by the time we stopped tracking it, it had gotten down to like just drops of blood every few feet. So we were really having to work. But so we came back yesterday morning with the intention of, we're just here to recover that bear. That was pretty much all that we expected to happen. We spent the next 5 hours solid, never stopped, crawling on our hands and knees through this brush. And it's not just thick brush where like you can't stand up. It's got thorns on it like this long. It's horrible stuff. I ripped my coat. Gary ripped his hat. Like, I'm sure we ripped other stuff. You can't go through with the pack. It was hard as could be going through with the rifle, but 5 hours, and it was getting warm. I mean, it didn't get like really hot yesterday, but to be doing something like that, you're sweating. We lost it. We tracked it for over a mile on our hands and knees, finding little pin drops on leaves, on little rocks, little pieces of wood. And long story short, like, we didn't find it. I didn't find it. And just really, really disappointing. So after 5 hours of it, I just decided, like, let's stop. Let's go get your bear now. I need something positive to come out of this. Let's go get your bear. So we got on the trail, and same thing. We like started following it all the way up this ravine. And fortunately, like, it stayed on pretty much a straight line path to the end of this ravine, but it was still little drop, go 10 feet, another little drop, go 10 feet. There was no like significant amounts of blood, but we were able to trail it all the way up to the end of this ravine. And I had mentioned to Gary when he told me, hey, I found this blood here, I'm like, that's where we saw that big bear go that we just watched. That's the route that it took. So, you know, in my opinion, I'm like, that's the bear you shot, and there was only one bear, and this is where it went, and that's your bear. Like, if we'd have known, we could have shot it again, but we wanted to be careful. Better safe than sorry. So, and he thought that was, yeah, that's probably the case. So we don't really know, again, like which version of how many bears there were and whatnot, but at this point we're pretty sure, like, okay, that bear that we saw making its way through the ravine was the bear that Gary had shot. And we kind of probably missed our opportunity to put it down right then and there. In any case, we keep tracking this bear, crawling on our hands and knees. We get all the way up to the end of this ravine, and it wise. But the one on the left it's a pretty small ravine. It goes for probably maybe a quarter of a mile or whatever, but it's pretty shallow, it's brushy. But the one to the right is deeper. Probably goes about the same distance, but it's more substantial. Like, something could definitely hide in there. And the last blood we had looked like it was going up that ravine. So I handed Gary the gun. I'm like, he's up there. We're gonna kill him or recover him. So we up and down that ravine. I get down in there. I've been bushwhacking. It was horrible, but I get down in there. That's either one, if he's laying down in there and I can find him, or kick him out. We get done with that ravine, clearing that ravine. He's not there. So now we're right back to, I can't believe this, like, we're gonna lose 2 bears. But as Gary is coming off of the ridge that he was looking down in while I was trying to bust my way through the middle of it, he notices in the other arm that breaks off, there's kind of a cave over on that side. We found a cave in the big ravine that we went up. I guess it used to be an old coal mine. It's kind of cool, but he saw another one. So we're like, well, let's just go look. It's right here, so let's just go give it a look. And sure enough, we walk in there. We get like 20 yards away from the opening of this cave, and we can hear breathing. And then with a little bit of binos and whatnot, sure enough, there's a bear laying there. So when we pulled him out, he had a huge hole on his, I guess on his left side. Huge hole here, and a huge hole back right in front of the hind leg. I mean, we're talking this hole is like this big around. And my rifle is only a 280. And Gary's was a 44, but he only shot it, his pistol was a 44, he only shot it once directly above, going straight into, I think, the neck area. So it had this huge hole here and huge hole here, which is exactly the same side that I aimed on my bear, and it hit here and then came out right in front of the rear leg. Now, I'm not sure if it hit the rear leg too, like it was dark by the time we started gutting this bear, and I didn't look at it again today, but regardless, that wound, it had dirt on it, some intestines were kind of hanging out, and the hole was, I couldn't even see bullet holes from the rifle. So I kind of think, as crazy it is to imagine, that that might have been the bear that I hit with my bow. I mean, it's a Zwickey 2-blade single edge, 135 grain broadhead. You know, I think my arrows are 478 grains, 72 pound draw. Like at, I guess it was probably closer to 20 yards. Originally, I thought it was 15. I mean, it's going to put a pretty big hole in that bear. I think it was Eskimo is the broadhead. I'll have to double check that, but it's going to make a pretty big hole. And it was right where, if anything, that's what I had said after the shot, and we didn't recover him right away, is I might have been a little low, and I intentionally didn't go right for the sternum. I tried to put it off to the left side, and I may have been just a little bit too far off to the left. And so there's a possibility that bear is the same bear that I hit. No idea. It doesn't matter, because, well, it matters because if it is, then there's not a bear that's out there that just, you know, died and went to waste. I don't know, but there's a piece of me that like feels like it is, that gives me a little bit of relief that maybe, you know, my bear's not just laying out there someplace going to waste. Anyway, it was crazy, but I'm so glad we found that bear. And I know that was a lot, but I just didn't get a lot of it on video, so I don't think I could have really like put that all together without kind of explaining it. And then having that coyote show up in the middle of it didn't help. So, all right, so that's kind of it. So yesterday we didn't get home. I don't know if I mentioned this, but we didn't get home until like 11 o'clock at night, something like that. It was a really long day. And again, tracked both bears, but by the time we were done tracking Gary's bear, it was over a mile as well. So both bears we tracked for a mile, basically on our hands and knees through miserable brush. So I feel good about the fact that we put in the effort, you know, and certainly we could have done some things differently looking back on it, no question about that. And had we had the video of the whole thing, we would have clearly known that was his bear, that wasn't his bear, there was a second bear, there wasn't a second, like, that was so confusing. Anyway, really happy that we got a bear, that Gary got a bear, and it's a great way to end the day. Okay, I just got done looking for my arrow that I shot at that bear for the last time. It was right below where I was kind of posted up here, so thought I'd give it one more shot. But while I was looking, I got some pretty good news. Gary, who's at home processing that bear, skinning that bear, called me and said he's pretty sure that's the bear that I shot. He said he found some a wound right here on the inside of the front shoulder on the same side where I had already talked about those other 2 holes. And he said there's nothing that's going to cause that wound, those cuts, other than a knife or a broadhead. And we didn't cut up there last night. We just gutted the bear and didn't do any skinning. So I already had kind of suspicions that maybe it was. It just seemed so far-fetched. But, you know, I mean, that pretty much confirms it. So, you know, other than the fact that I was probably 2 or 3 inches too far to the right, and that's something I've got to take away from this and do differently next time. But other than that, like, I'm just so relieved that I didn't leave an animal out there, that we recovered the bear, and it was only 1 bear, but so we recovered our bear. That's awesome, because that was such a phenomenal experience, you know, to make the stock and get down there and then be able to pull that bear back across the fence and get him to come to me to 20 yards using a cow elk call, because that's all I had. Just squealing on that thing, trying to sound as much like a rabbit as I possibly could, and it worked. And that was such a phenomenal experience. And if I walked away from this thinking that it ended with me leaving an animal laying out there, it would kind of just always have this kind of sour taste with it. And not now. Like, now I know, like, yeah, I gotta do a better job with my shot placement. I intentionally went off to the side. I didn't want to hit the sternum. It was the first time I've shot these broadheads. I just wasn't 100% sure if it would blow through that, and so I did mean to be on that right side, but I was probably off by 2 or 3 inches. But now, having seen the hole that those broadheads make, oh, I think I'm sold on them. I think I'll continue to use them. That bear didn't go down because of the broadhead. It didn't go down because I didn't put the shot in the right place. So, really good news. I'm wrapping it up here. I'm heading back into town. And then Gary and I are going to figure out something for the evening, so wish us luck. Here we go. Alright, just doing a quick update. It's about 5:30. We're in a new place. It's a pretty small section of land. It does have some state land adjacent to it that's inaccessible without corner hopping, but it would be possible if we saw something up there to, you know, attempt to call it down to us. So right now we're just sitting on this knoll and just watching, just glassing, see what may or may not come out. Wind is not great for the area that we have available to us. So that's why we're kind of hanging back, just to see if we can maybe see something first and then figure out how to go about it from there. So see what happens. Could see a bear too. So primarily looking for elk. If we saw a really nice buck, I'm thinking Gary would go after that, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay, that's it for now. Well, I think that's gonna do it for the night. Saw lots of deer, no elk, no bears. Haven't figured out what we're gonna do tomorrow. We'll do that when we get back tonight. Well, it's the morning of the last day. We came back to the place that we were at the beginning of the week. There were a couple of rigs parked where we've gone in the past. So we've come to the upper part of it. Very quiet morning. It's cool. It's a great morning. We've seen some deer, but that's it. No elk sounds, no elk sightings, nothing. Just quiet. So still early, still a really good time. So we'll see what happens. All right, it's 2:30 on our last day. This morning we hiked in. Again, we're back at the place where I shot my cow last year. There were trucks parked in the lower section, so we're up on top. We sat here for, I don't know, pretty much like 5 hours. We did some calling. We glassed from a couple of different locations. Saw some deer this morning. It was really chilly. So eventually I just didn't want to sit and be cold anymore, so I kind of hiked up the fence line to this back side of where we're at. It drops down into this big valley. We've looked down in there before. We've never gone down in there, but as I came over the crest of the ridge, I looked down and there were a couple of mule deer bucks down there, and I watched them for a while. after I'd been watching them, there was a sheep that was there that basically kind of ran them off. But after I watched them for a while, I heard some grouse behind me just up on top of the ridge. So I wanted to get back and let Gary know that I'd seen these bucks, because definitely with a bow, I think either one of them would be a really nice buck to take. So I went back, got Gary. Well, at that point, you know, the sheep had chased the bucks off, but I'd heard the grouse. So then we went back and we located the grouse. I shot first. I hit one with my, basically my blunt tip or whatever, and I hit it, but it flew off, and it didn't land. It landed in a tree or kept on going. So, but another one stayed in the tree, so I shot that one, and then brought it back up, and Gary came over, and we were talking about, like, I was showing Gary where I shot him or whatever, and all of a sudden he said, "Shh, wait." And sure enough, there were 3 more grouse in the tree right above us. Didn't even fly. I've never seen that before. I've never seen ones that tame. So then we were able to shoot 2 more. He shot one and I shot another one. So we ended up with 3 grouse. Can't find any elk. Did find some 2 mule deer bucks. But a sheep, of all things, ran them off. And then I heard some grouse up above me. So went and got Gary, came back, and I missed the first one. I think I actually hit it, but the judo tip I have just is not good. So then I just used a broadhead on this one, and I was up there at the very top there when I hit it, and it flew down here, but I thought I saw my arrow hanging out of it when it was flying down here. It ended up crash landing right there. But I don't see my arrow anywhere, so I'm gonna have to see if I can find my arrow, but at least we got something for the day. It is cold, so we had to get up and find something to do, keep ourselves warm. Gonna look for my arrow. Okay, I just shot mine, came back up. We've been standing here talking for 5 minutes. And there's still 2 birds. I literally walked up to the tree and showed Gary where I shot the bird I just shot. There's 3 more still in the frickin' branches here. I don't know. Don't move much or you're not gonna, they're gonna go. Nice. And you kept your arrow, didn't you?
I don't see it.
It didn't sound like it went through.
Well, not right here. That's it.
Okay, don't spook that other one. I'm gonna try to get him. But you gotta come over here because I don't want to shoot over your head. Here. It's recording already. What do I use?
That was way smaller.
Do you see him still?
Yeah. Okay. Which one are you getting? That lower one?
Well, where's the lower one? Oh yeah, if I can.
How do I zoom this? I can't. There's another one in there that was.
Oh, what?
Yeah, it's the one.
Oh man, I destroyed this guy. No tail feathers left.
Oh shit. Maybe you didn't. Maybe you just took its ass off.
No, it's when I stepped on him.
Oh.
Ripped them all out. I hit him back here.
Well. Pretty sure that arrow's gone too.
Oh yeah. Oh well, it's kind of fun. Nice. All right.
I think this is recording, Jerry. I don't know.
It should just be a red dot going.
Yeah, it's blinking.
Yep. All right, well, nice little bounty for today. So that was kind of a fun way to, I guess, fill some time. Then we left the grouse there and we just hiked down into that bowl a little ways, maybe not even halfway into that valley. And then we just did some cow calling down there and sat there for probably an hour. And again, nothing. So went back up, grabbed the grouse, grabbed our packs, hiked all the way back to the truck. We just got done eating some lunch and kind of hanging out. It has warmed up now. It's still a little breezy, but way more comfortable than what it was this morning. And we haven't decided what we're going to do for the last evening. I don't know if we'll stay here and head back up to where we were. I'm not sure what we're going to do. So really at a point where we're going to have to pull a rabbit out of a hat for anything to happen here. Whether it does or whether it doesn't, this has like been one of the best weeks of hunting, just in terms of experiences I've had, maybe ever, but certainly in a long, long time. So I'm not going to be disappointed if we can't make something happen tonight, but man, it sure would be awesome if we could. Even if we just had an interaction, that would be cool. So more to come on that. I'm not sure what we're going to do, but we'll figure it out, and I'll update you once we know what that is. Well, we're calling it. This is it. This is the end of the trip. Freezing cold out here. We got maybe an hour left, and at this point, even if we saw something, we just wouldn't have enough time to make a play, and I've got to leave early tomorrow morning. So this is it. End of the trip. An amazing trip. Not disappointed that I'm leaving without an elk. Everything else was incredible.